Hello and good evening. It's Monday night. Thank you for joining us tonight in our first podcast for the week. I hope you are keeping well, and thank you for being patient there. We had a wee bit of a technical hitch here with the Wi-Fi getting Kirky on, but we are here now, so thank you very much indeed. Can I just encourage you all tonight? We are in the company of Chris Kirkland, former Liverpool and England international goalkeeper, and it's good having Chris on. I've got to know him very well over the last few years. And Mr. Kirkland, how are you, pal? All right?
I'm good now, mate. I'm not very good with technology, and we had a bit of nightmare there. But yeah, glad to be on, mate, and happy to try and help you.
Yeah. No, look, the joys of technology, mate. But we're here well and good, mate. So I know that was a bit stressful there for you, mate, but we got there in the end, mate. We got there in the end. But no, look, thanks a million, mate, for bouncing on tonight. We've been blessed with some incredible guests on over the last few weeks, and it's just a pleasure being in the company of Chris Kirkland tonight. And I thank you for that, pal. Thank you.
No problem, mate.
How have things been for you anyway over the last few months?
Yeah, it's okay, to be honest. The first couple of weeks were daunting. When the lockdown got announced, it's uncertainty, not knowing when it's going to end. But then you've sort of got to accept it and plan your days out, and plan what you're going to do, keep busy, try and stay positive. So it's been okay. I've been really busy with a lot of work with the Liverpool Foundation and a lot of stuff that I do as well. So it's to be honest, it's gone quicker than I thought it would.
Good. Kirky, it all started for you obviously at Coventry City, and I certainly remember, if back then, a lot of talk and a lot of hype was about this young Chris Kirkland coming through the system and the talent that he had, and it was a short time really. You were fizzed in under Gordon Strachan, mate, and replaced Magnus Hedman. That must have been an incredible start to your young career, mate.
It was. When I first went there, obviously, I started training at 15 with Oggy. He used to train us on a Wednesday night, so struck up a really good relationship with him. And then when I moved into the youth team, and then eventually got into the first team squad and training with them on a regular basis, Oggy was just incredible. He was Stevie Gruzic. The way he worked, the way he conducted himself, the way he spoke to people, I just tried to emulate him really. But yeah, Magnus was, when Oggy retired, Magnus was just an incredible keeper for Sweden. Sweden at the time had they had the best defence in Europe. They were extremely hard, but Gordon showed incredible faith in me and gave me a chance, and always grateful for him for that.
Yeah, and obviously that Coventry team at the time, Kirky, you know what I mean? There was some decent players, mate, around Highfield Road at that time, you know what I mean? And they did quite well under Strachan.
We did. We had some. Unfortunately, we got relegated in the end in 2001. Yeah. But we had, Robbie Keane, obviously, people in Dublin know Robbie, Gary Mack, Gary Breen, Paul Williams, Darren Huckabee, Dion Dublin, John Hartson. We had some incredible players, and unfortunately, we got relegated, which was extremely hard to take. It's a massive blow, not just to yourselves, your own career, but to people that work at the clubs that lose their jobs because of finances and stuff like that. So relegation is horrendous, really is. So it was really tough.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, 2001, Kirky, your stock was building, and you end up at Anfield and with a record transfer British fee for a goalkeeper. As a young lad at that time in your career, Chris, did you feel the weight of any pressure of that, or the excitement of what you were going into just completely overshadows that?
No. I've always said that when I was younger, I had no fear whatsoever. It wasn't until I got over 30 that I started realising a few of the games I was playing, in particularly at Wigan when we were battling relegation most seasons. You start realising the magnitude of the games you're going into. But when I went to Liverpool, not fussed at all. I mean, I knew about the move 6 months before I moved to Liverpool, which is tapping up, and I probably shouldn't say that online, but Gary McAllister was at Coventry with me, moved to Liverpool himself. His wife wasn't very well, so he come back down to train with Coventry while his wife was getting treatment, even though he signed for Liverpool. So he went back up to Gerard Houllier and said, "Look, I think you should take a look at Chris. He's, you know, since I've been there before I moved to you, he's improved no end." So they looked at me, watched a few games. I managed to play well against Liverpool at Anfield and at Highfield Road. And he rang me, just said, "Listen, he's going to buy up. You know, the transfer window's 5 months away, but just don't sign for anyone else," because he knew there was a few teams interested. He just said, "Listen, don't sign for anyone else." And listen, I've always been a Liverpool fan. My first game was in 1988. You know, my dad used to take me up to Anfield, used to stand in the Kop in them days. So, yeah, I knew about the move before, but still it was daunting to leave Coventry. You know, I loved it there. I was playing, I had great relationships. I've always been a home person, so the thought of leaving home to move up to Liverpool was tough. But Liverpool's my club, so I knew I had to do it.
And ultimately, Chris, whilst you're at Liverpool as well, you know, you had some great runs in the side as well, and the reality is, you know, you obviously Jersey Didac was in, you obviously were able to get him out of the team, and it's truth be told, if you hadn't probably picked up injuries that you did at that time, your Liverpool career could have been very different.
Yeah, that's the one thing I look back on during my Liverpool time. Listen, I'll do it all again, just play one game for Liverpool. You know, I'll go through it all again because it's the team I always supported as a boy. I was told about Jersey signing the day I signed. Gerard Houllier was honest, said, "Look, Jersey's going to come in. He's going to be number one. I want you to come in, be number two, learn from Jersey, learn from the players, learn from Joe Corrigan, your goalie coach, and when the time's right, you'll play." And he stuck to that word. But as you say, unfortunately, when I got in the team, I got some bad knocks, and you know, that was really the story of my Liverpool career, which is frustrating. But like I said, I'd do it all again, just play one game for Liverpool.
Chris, we'll just take this one. Marcus tax in. Chris, always been a huge admirer of you and very popular at every club that you've been at. What would you say the highlight of your career was now looking back?
Well, I always say the same. There's two things. One was making my debut for Coventry, making my Premier League debut. That's always a special occasion. Gordon gave me that. It was against Tottenham Hotspur. We won 2-1. I got man of the match, which was brilliant at Highfield Road. You know, Tottenham had some amazing players. You know, Sergei Rebrov, Teddy Sheringham, you know, Les Ferdinand. They had some unbelievable players. And then obviously, but the biggest highlight for me was signing for Liverpool. Being a supporter, standing in that Kop as a 7-year-old, supporting them all my career, and then managing to sign for them. So that's always the biggest thing for my career.
Okay, Steve, thanks for texting tonight. Chris, the horrible incident at Sheffield Wednesday when you were attacked by the fan, did that have any effect after you? You know, in any way?
To be honest, it was. I mean, that was on the Friday night. Should never have been on a Friday night. The game, Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, local derby. Why it was on a Friday night, no idea. Gives people a chance to drink, and obviously, you know, it was very hostile that night. Really hostile, probably the most hostile I've played in, apart from Istanbul. I remember we played on the Wednesday against Blackburn. I just wanted to play again. I just wanted to get it out of my system. I wanted to play again. But the hardest thing was actually going to Ellen Road 3 months later. So going to Ellen Road, as everyone knows, it's an intimidating place, tough place. And after what happened at Hillsborough, I got through a few death threats. When we stayed at the hotel the night before game, they put security on my hotel door because they had some threats against me being in the hotel. And then at the game, there was actually policemen stood by my post, which they told me just before the game that there's going to be policemen standing by my post, which it put me off a little bit, to be honest. It was I didn't really need to know that. That was the toughest thing, going back to Ellen Road after it happened, because as we know, unfortunately, no matter what happens in football, some fans always support their team, and I got a lot of stick that day. So I couldn't wait to get off the pitch. I couldn't wait for the game to be done, and we lost. I think we lost 2-1 in the end, but I just could not wait to get off the pitch. And unfortunately, as I was driving out the ground, my car got attacked when I was in it. So it was that was the worst, probably worse than actually what happened on the night at Hillsborough.
Yeah, it's incredible just listening to you and hearing that. You know, probably a lot of fans aren't even aware of that. You know, the fact that, you know, that happened, and certainly, no place for that in the game. Gareth Clement, thanks for texting, and I hope you're keeping well, Gareth. No doubt you're hopeful of maybe seeing some ball kicked again in the Irish League soon. Chris, did you feel a weight of expectation to play for England, given your father's bat and a great story to tell the grandkids?
I never knew about it. I never knew until 2 days before I made my debut for England. So my mum and dad never told me. He put it on when I was 13. So I was an outfield player. So I played on pitch. I was never any good. I was always on the bench. So it was for Barwell. So I was on the bench as an outfield player, and the goalkeeper got injured. So because I was the only one on the bench, I had to go in goal. And went in goal, made a few saves, thought, I really like this. And sort of stuck at it from there. My dad put the bet on when I was 13. But I've always said since that if he would have took me into the bookies with him, he'd have got 1,000,000 to 1, because I was not in the best shape when I was 13. I was quite chubby as a kid. There were lads put £100 on it, 100 to 1, but my mum and dad didn't have £100. So we used to go down to a working men's club on a Sunday, play snooker, and I used to do the scoreboard for the snooker and the darts that played in the league. And they always used to like throw 50p in for me and for doing the scoring. So a few of them chaps, put £10, £20 in. So, and it was just before Christmas that it paid out. So a lot of them got chances to buy presents for the kids, which was amazing.
Very good, very good. Chris, you obviously played under some top managers. For you, looking back on your career, mate, who was the most influential for Chris Kirkland, and certainly as far as goalkeeping coaches, who for you certainly did was that one goalkeeping coach that you felt certainly was a pain to leave him?
Well, the biggest one that's had an influence on me is Stevie Guzrich. As I said at the start, seeing the way he works, seeing the way he conducts himself. He was the hardest working professional ever worked with in my life. He was the first person out there in the morning, last person into the gym after. I mean, he liked a beer and a fag after training, but that was those days sort of thing. So without him and seeing the way he worked, as soon as I seen it, I thought that's the only way to work. That is what you need to do to be a professional and to try and be successful in the game. So he was the biggest one. Jim Blythe, who was the goalie coach at the time, had a great relationship with him. We lived 10 minutes away from each other. He used to pick me up in the mornings, or I used to pick him up. So them two are probably the biggest influences of my career. And without them at such an early age, things might have been different.
Mm-hmm. Scotty Walker is obviously texted in. I think you've answered certainly the last part of that. But who was your role model growing up, Chris, as a kid?
Stevie Guzrich. He was, growing up, working with him since I was just 15. He used to train us on a Wednesday night down at the Sky Blue Lodge, and I just struck up that special relationship straight away. And I had a chance to sign for Leicester or Coventry when I was 16, and because I had that relationship with Oggy, I signed for Coventry. But the best manager, I mean, I owe a lot to Gerard Houllier for taking me to Liverpool. He was just brilliant. When we first went up to sign, he picked me and my wife up, girlfriend then, wife now, from the hotel himself with Phil Thompson. Picked us up, took us to Melwood, which a lot of managers do, but a lot of managers don't. Just that personal touch he gave you. When I did my cruciate ligament at Crystal Palace, I smashed my cruciate ligament to bits. We got a plane back to Liverpool. He sat me in the front of the plane with him, next to him, and said, look, I want to give you a new contract. I know you're going to be out for 9 months, but I'm going to look after you. And I said, look, I've already got 4 years left on my deal. He went, doesn't matter. And the next day, he signed me to a new 6-year contract. So he was just incredible, Gerard Houllier. And the other one, apart from Gordon Strachan, is Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce was just the best manager I think that you could ever wish to play for. He supports his players. I mean, it's the best. During that period when I played for him at Wigan, it was the best I've ever played during my career. He just had this knack about getting the best out of players, talking to players. When he used to do his meetings, everyone was just gripped to what he said. Everyone was on the end of the seat, just listening to what he said. And he just had this way of geeing his players up, and everybody would give everything to play for him. They would give every ounce, the energy they've got just to play for him because of the type of manager he was. And I've seen all the rumours about Newcastle and, you know, getting a new manager in and Pochettino and stuff like that. But for me, I don't know why they're not going to keep him. He's just incredible.
Yeah. Funny, we speak with a lot of players on a week-to-week basis, Chris, and Steve Bruce's name comes up a lot when asked. Players are asked that question, just the effect that he had on players, and just his man-to-man management was just off the scale, you know. So, yeah,
Not surprising.
We and your thank for texting tonight. Hi, Chris. I think it's fantastic what you're doing on Twitter, calling people with mental health, and I know we're going to talk about that, Chris, very shortly. I've been there myself. I know how it feels. He's a Liverpool fan. Wayne Chris says, "What was your best memories at Liverpool? Staying at on the Liverpool topic for a second."
Well, obviously, signing from was in 2001 was huge, but my best memory was the Olympiacos game in the Champions League, where obviously Stevie scored in the last couple of minutes to take us through. So I mean, that night was just, and after that game finished, we got in the dressing room. We just knew we was going to win the league, knew we was going to win the cup. We knew we was going to go on and win it, because to come back like we did and the atmosphere and everything like that, you just had this sense. Sometimes they say that, you know, your name's on the cup and it's written on the cup, and we certainly felt that after the game. So to be involved in that game was, as a Liverpool supporter as well, and playing in that game was just amazing.
Yeah, I can only imagine with being a fan as well and the effects that had for you, and just off the scale. Chris, I know obviously Wayne had touched on what you're doing on Twitter at the minute, and you know, mental health not only in sport but mental health in society at the minute is very much rife, and you know, and I know you and I have spoke a lot over the last various months on your story and your struggle, and this is something very close to your heart, Chris, because you were there. It was something that became a very real deal in the life of Chris Kirkland.
It was. I mean, it started when I went to Sheffield Wednesday. For 11 years, I had the same routine. I signed in 2001 for Liverpool. Was there for 5 years. Moved to Wigan, which is just down the road. Had the same house, same routine. Picked my daughter up from school. You know, I was always, you know, I could drop her off in the mornings. Knew exactly what I was doing day to day. And all of a sudden, that flipped on the head when I moved to Sheffield Wednesday. I had to, like people do, you have to set off early in the mornings. I was setting off at 5:30 to beat the Manchester traffic. I was getting to training at 7 o'clock. There was no one in. And you know, the winter months, and when it's cold and dark in the mornings, and you're travelling on your own, it can start to play in your mind. And all I was worried about was, because I'm a home person, and because how much my wife and daughter mean to me, and love spending time as a family together. You know, I was always thinking about getting home straight away after training. After games, I was in the shower and dressed and changed within 15 minutes and in my car. I just couldn't wait to get home, and which is wrong, really. Well, it is wrong, and it just worn me down over the few years I was there. But Sheffield Wednesday as a club was just, like Liverpool, was just incredible, and we know the affiliation, and you know, with Liverpool, with Hillsborough and stuff like that. Sheffield Wednesday, the fans were just the same as Liverpool, just amazing fans. You know, history of Sheffield Wednesday and the club as a whole was just, to play for them without what it was, and the staff at the club and the players, I'd have left a long time before, but it just become too much, and I had to get home. I thought moving closer to home was going to reverse the cycle. I had the chance to sign for Wigan again in 2015. Going back to Wigan, I thought, brilliant, best time of my career. If I go back there, it'll help my mental health, and you know, I could settle back into it. But unfortunately, they messed me around when I went there for the medical. They failed me on a medical, which, you know, since I left Liverpool, my fitness record at every club I've been at, Wigan, Sheffield Wednesday, was 97%. And that's including training, games. You know, people think I was always injured. For 10 years after I left Liverpool, I wasn't. And Wigan failed me on a medical, which was just, you know, I thought was outrageous. Seeming they spoke to Sheffield Wednesday. For 3 years I was there, I was fit for, you know, 97% of everything. So that knocked me hard. Not being able to go back there really knocked the stuffing out of me. And I was already in a bad place anyway, and when that happened, it just made me even worse. I signed for Preston, which was, again, brilliant club, just up the road from me, but I was at a bad point by then, and even though I moved closer to home, it didn't help at all. So it was really tough times.
Yeah, and obviously, given Chris, you know what I mean, that if there's so many looking in, you know what I mean. You're playing at a high level of football, you know what I mean, and you're probably living, let's say, that so-called dream for a lot of kids wanting to go on and play at that level of football. Looking back on it, was there anything in particular potentially now that you could say maybe triggered that?
Yeah, the move
yeah.
to Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was just a complete flip, complete 180 of my routine that I used to have for 11 years. And I just couldn't get used to it. I just, you know, every mile I went away from home, I wanted to turn back because I didn't feel, you know, I've always been a home person, and home comforts mean the world to me. My daughter and my wife mean the world to me. My dog, you know, and during these times, I lost my dog of 14 years. I've got a new one now. I think you can see him there. He's lying on the floor there.
Oh, he's content looking there, mate.
Yeah, well, we're never more than a metre apart from each other. Everyone will tell you that. So we lost a good friend when I was going through all this. Callum was driving up to say goodbye to him. He had cancer, and I was driving up to say goodbye to him to York, and he died when I was on the way up, which was hard to take. So I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But it was, you know, those years were just really, really tough. And when you're in that cycle, you can't break out of it. And everything you do and everything you think just magnifies things. I mean, I just couldn't wait to get to sleep at nights, but I didn't want to wake up in the morning because I knew it was going to start again. And, you know, the days were long because your mind was just completely racing, and it was hard to break out of that.
And ultimately, Kirky, I guess, you know, when you're in that sort of that little bubble of being a footballer, and where you're having to go out and train every day and play in front of 20, 30,000 every Saturday, you know, where there's no real escape, it obviously got to the point where you felt, you know, something needed to change, really.
Well, I left Preston again. At Preston, I was there for a year. Simon told us I was going to be understudy to Jordan Pickford, which was, you know, at that stage of my career was perfect. Being a number 2, helping Jordan. At the end of the season, I played the last 6 games of the season, and ironically, the last game was against Leeds at Preston, and I got promised a new deal coming on the Monday. You know, there's a new deal here for you. Come and sign it. Got there on the Monday, went into the office to sign it. Got told I was too old. Got told they wanted to go a different way. Got told they wanted to go with a young keeper. Basically telling me that I wasn't good enough anymore. So I had to leave there again. That was tough. You know, being in the situation I was in, I remember going into the car park and just breaking down again. You know, all these kicks happen when you're feeling that bad, and you get kicks in life, and things happen. It just magnifies things. Went to Bury. Dave Flitcroft rang me and said, "Look, come here." Went away pre-season with them. Everything, you know, shouldn't have gone. We went to Portugal. I was in a horrendous state by this time. I didn't want to play football, but you know, the professional side kicks in again. You think, I can get through this. I can, you know, I've been a professional for 19 years. I'll get playing again, get training, and everything will be all right. But I just, from day one, I shouldn't have signed for them, and I've apologised to Dave for it since. And I was away in pre-season in Portugal, and I was petrified about going, petrified about leaving home for a week. Got out there the second day. We stayed in apartment blocks, and I just lost it one night. I just wanted to get home, and I just, you know, I was shaking. I just didn't know what to do, and I was on the roof, and you know, I was going to jump off. I was at that state where I just didn't think there was a way out at all, and I was standing on the edge, and just thought of Leona and Lucy, my wife and daughter, and thought, I can't do this. I can't do this to them. I didn't want to leave Lucy without a dad. You know, we've got an amazing relationship. I didn't want to leave Leona without a husband. We've been together since I was 18, 20 odd years, over 20 years. And I just thought, I can't do this to them. And got down off the ledge, rang Leona and said, look, I need help. You know, she knew I wasn't right, but like you do, you protect things, you hide things, because you're thinking the man in the house. I've got to be the man in the house. Got to protect my wife and daughter. rang us, broke down, said, look, you need to get home. So flew home the next day, and that's when I rang the PFA and, you know, asked for help, and things started to get a little bit better then.
Even just listen to that, Chris, you know, I know we've heard it before and we've talked a lot about it, but even just listening to you and coming on here tonight and sharing that, you know, because, you know, there's so many potentially now who potentially are in that situation where you were, and you can now look back and you've came through it. And how do you feel, Chris, in terms of football clubs now? Probably in a culture then it wasn't easy to come out. You know, there wasn't an awful lot coming out saying about mental health. Now it's probably a little bit easier for your 5'8" guy, where it's in society, where it's in sport, but especially I guess in sport where the environment you were to come out. Do you think it's a little bit easier now, and could clubs do a lot more?
Oh yeah, listen, it's only been in the last 12 to 18 months really that mental health is now talked about. You turn the TV on, it's on more or less every day. You turn radio stations on, they're always promoting mental health and doing things to help people. So, but before that, no, you know, there was nothing. PFA need to do a lot more. They are trying to do a lot more. I mean, I'm involved with some stuff they do. You know, when I did this, I didn't do it for football players. I did it for society. But obviously, I owe a lot to football as well. It's given me the life I've got. You know, well, you know, fortunately, some of the things we've got in because of football. But the PFA know they need to do a lot more. You know, I think 3 years ago there was 180 players asked for help, former and past players. Now it's up to 1,200. So it's growing more and more and more, and there's a lot more pressure now on footballers than there was 5 years ago, 2 years ago. You know, it's a business now. It's money. Money controls football, which is sad, but it's the way it is. You know, without fans, though, football wouldn't be what it was. You know, if fans didn't go to games, there would be no football. So clubs have got a lot more responsibility now. Because the PFA have got to look after so many players, so many clubs. It really falls on the clubs now. Really falls on them themselves to protect the players, to put things in place. A lot of players won't want to go to the club or won't want to get help inside the club. So clubs have got to provide help outside the clubs, and not just one or two options. There's got to be a lot of options now. So the more they can do, the better. And I think they're starting to gradually realise that now.
Yeah, no, look, Chris, I really appreciate you know, coming on and sharing that, and I know what you're doing through social media streams is something that's incredibly close to your heart, and I know you do want to encourage people to reach out, and you know, if they're in that place, to certainly, you know, to contact you, you know, and you know, I just want to encourage in that, Chris, because there's not too many guys would put themselves out like that. I see you on Twitter, I see the videos with your daughter in the backyard, and as a father myself, I can relate to, you know, the time with family and how precious it is, but. I just want to thank you for being so open and so honest on that.
That's the one thing, mate. I don't want thanks for it. It's just what I hoped other people would do if I was in that situation. So, you know, it's not about. Listen, obviously, all the nice messages are fantastic, and you know, it's really nice to read them. But you know, I don't want people to think I'm doing it for gratitude or just to get a message saying, "Oh, amazing what you're doing." It's not about that. It's about what I would need, you know, and what I hoped was in place when I needed help. And I reached out eventually, and there was people there. That's the one good thing about this world. There is people there to help you. If you just ask, there is some amazing people that will help you if you know where to go and know the places to ask for help. So, you know, I'll keep doing that. I've spoken to a lot of people today. I've got a lot of messages to get through, a lot of people to call, but I've sent them a message tonight saying, look, I will get back to you. Just give me, you know, a bit of time, because I've had, I think it was 300 odd earlier on. It's over to 500 now that have asked for a call. So I will do it. Not a problem at all. I did 30 odd today. So, you know, if I do 30 odd, 40 odd a day, within a couple of weeks, I'll be through them all. So, you know, it passes time for me as well. It passes, you know, 3 or 4 hours a day for me, which during this time, as we know, lockdown, you've got a lot of time on your hands. So it's, you know, some of the calls are amazing to talk to people. Some of them are really tough, but it just shows that people are in a tough situation. And, you know, if we can help these people during this, like I got help, then, you know, hopefully they can start to look forward with, you know, with a little bit of positivity.
Yeah, no. Well, look, before we finish, Chris. Obviously you've your own academy going, and do you still potentially want to go down the coaching route, but maybe getting back into a full-time club, or is your heart very much set on doing what you've been doing?
Well, this is a bit of an exclusive for you tonight, so nobody knows this yet. But I mean, I've still got my academy. Obviously, we're not been active the last few weeks. We've got about 14 keepers there that are doing great, so that'll start back up when we can get back to starting things like that. But I have started already, but I'm just about to sign a contract for LFC Foundation. So they do some incredible work. They run 24 projects all over Merseyside, helping veterans, kids in schools, underprivileged kids. You know, they run food banks. I've been doing a lot of that over the last few weeks, you know, taking food to people, deliveries. LFC Foundation, I had no idea just what they did. It all started off when I went down to a few kick sessions. So they put sessions on for lads down near Anfield. So I literally heard about it, went down, thought, oh, this is what they do, you know, put a few sessions on and that's it. But I had no idea what exactly they do. And I went to meet Gemma and Katie, who sort of head it all up, and they went through, I was there for about 3 hours. They went through all the programs they did, listed it all, what they do. And there's 24 different programs they run. And I was just blown away and thought, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to get involved in. So I'll be helping across all them projects. And then before the lockdown, we were going into a prison. We were doing a coaching like a coaching course to help convicts, not serious convicts that have done some, you know, murders and stuff like that. We're helping convicts that have just fell on a little bit of hard times and done something silly that they've got themselves in trouble for, but they want to get out of that and they want help. So we've been doing a coaching course with them. We obviously had to stop it when the restrictions come in the lockdown, so we'll be carrying that on again. But just to get involved with them projects is, you know, I can't wait to do it. Unfortunately, we can't do it at the minute, and we're doing as much as we can behind the scenes. But so that's what I'll be doing from now on. Would I like to get involved in football? You know, I'll go into Tranmere. Mickey Mellon's been amazing with us there. I'll go into there, help training out, be around the lads, because I still miss that change room environment, still miss being around football players, the laugh and everything like that. John Achterberg at Liverpool has been incredible with me. I've been down to watch training. You know, I speak to him regular. He said, look, anything you need, ring me. You know, I've been down to training. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff with the LFC TV as well, with the 18s, 23s, first team game commentary, stuff like that. So my sole focus now is on Liverpool Football Club and helping them as a whole. And they've been amazing with us. They really have. They've, since day one, when I first come out and said I was struggling, they rang me up, said, look, anything you need, ring us. You know, the chairman, the chief exec, you know, Peter Moore, everyone's rang us and said, look, whatever you need, we're there for you. So and listen, that's why it's Liverpool Football Club. That's why it means so much to people, and that's why they are the best club in the world, because they care about people. So, you know, they've been just incredible, and now I want to give back to them.
Yeah. Chris, obviously different classmate, and I know what Liverpool Football Club means to Chris Kirkland, you know, so no doubt it's a twofold. As much as you're delighted to be there, I know it's going to be massive advantageous for them to have you there. Chris, I just want to wish you every success, bro, over the next, you know, whatever the next number of months, the next few years, whatever life brings to you. You're an incredible guy. I know there's many times we've been chatting. You've been driving the van, delivering food parcels and stuff, and it's just an absolute testimony to the guy that you are. And thank you immensely for coming on tonight, and God bless you.
My pleasure, top man. Take care, mate. Anything else?
Chris, chat, man.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye, mate. God bless. Bye-bye. Okay, here we are, Chris, bouncing on tonight, sharing, you know, a story which, you know, certainly if it does resonate with anyone tonight, by all means, you know, please get in touch with Chris, or even come through yourselves, and we can certainly, you know, put you in line with Chris Kirkland. You know, an incredible story, and certainly with so much mental health and issues surrounding it. Please do not avail of that. Please contact us so we can do anything in that and direct you to the right people. Thank you for tuning in tonight. We've got Mick McCarthy on with us tomorrow night. Looking forward to tuning in with Mick. And can I just say, for those people here contacting me, our YouTube channel is obviously very active. All the videos have been downloaded from our podcast over the last 10 days. So please bounce on there and you'll see any that you may have missed. Thank you so much indeed to the guys at The Longest 40, who continue to be a breath of fresh air for us to allow us to broadcast this. We just want to thank you once again. Take care. God bless you. It's morning.